Good morning. I hope you and your families are well. While the bracha of Baruch She'amar to many of us may seem a bit repetitive, just a number of praises of the Ribono Shel Olam, seemingly different words to mean the same thing, if we look a bit deeper into this bracha, we will see that this bracha is not only an introduction to the Psukei de Zimra, the praises of the Ribono Shel Olam, but really one has proper kavana. In Baruch She'amar, he realizes and appreciates that this is the haktama, this is the introduction to the entire tefillah. What is the essence of the bracha of Baruch She'amar? So the Rishonim explained to us that Baruch She'amar contains within it 10 brachas, which are describing the Ribono Shel Olam's act of creation of the world and praising the Ribono Shel Olam for the creation of the world. The Ravan writes, Ula'acher she'asaknu b'Torah, with the Birchas HaTorah, u'ba'avoda, the recitation of Karbonos, ve'emanu ha'olam she'yamor al Torah v'avoda, and now we have the prerequisites for the world, which are certainly Torah and Avoda. Now we could go to discuss the creation of the world. We give a bracha praising the Ribono Shel Olam for the creation and the constant recreation of that world. That is what Baruch She'amar is about. Praising the Ribono Shel Olam for creating the world. In fact, almost all the Rishonim point to the fact that within Baruch She'amar, although the word Baruch appears 13 times, there are really 10 brachas. 10 brachas, if you look closely, the Rishonim say, which are correspond to the 10 ma'amaros with which the Ribono Shel Olam created the world. Says the Shiboile Haleket, V'kosef Binyamin Achi, my brother Binyamin, Baruch She'amar yesh asara brachos. There are 10 distinct brachos in Baruch She'amar. Kodem sheyaschil birchas psukei de Zimra. Before one begins psukei de Zimra, Keneged, what do these 10 brachos correspond to? Keneged asara ma'amaro shebahen nivra ha'olam. We know that the world was quote unquote created with 10 sayings, 10 utterances of the Ribono Shel Olam. Each one of these utterances has a bracha corresponding to it. So of course we're going to introduce our tefillah with shevach of the Ribono Shel Olam, but not any shevach on each stage of Brias Ha'olam. The Rishonim discuss different varieties, different ways of matching up the 10 brachas in Baruch She'amar to the 10 ma'amaros of creation of the world. For instance, the Ri Ben Yakar says that Baruch Omer Ve'oseh certainly corresponds to Vayomer Elokim Yehi Or Vayehi Or V'lochein Amar Omer Ve'oseh. Baruch Gozer Mekayim refers to the Gzeira of the Ribono Shel Olam, of splitting the heavens and the earth. V'zehu Gzeira shegozer shelo yisarvu hamayim umekayim, and he sustains that. Vayas Elokim es harakia vayavdo bein hamayim. So he separates between the heavens and the water down here on the earth. Baruch Marachem al haaretz. That's when the Ribono Shel Olam created land and was yikovu hamayim, gathered together the water to allow the earth to be revealed. Baruch Marachem al habriyas. He has mercy on creation by creating food for them. Desha, Esev, Mazriya, Zera, and so on and so forth. Each one of these brachos, says the Ri Ben Yakar, as well as most of the Rishonim, correspond to one of the stages, one of the ma'amaros in the creation of the world. Perhaps the greatest proof that this is what Baruch She'amar is about. It's about praising the Ribono Shel Olam, but not just praising him, but praising him specifically for the creation of the world, is the very, very beginning of the bracha, where we say, Baruch Oseh V'Reishis. Now that, on a very technical level, doesn't make any sense. Baruch Oseh V'Reishis, the one who makes beginnings? Now, this question is a very similar question to what we're familiar with from the first Rashi ala Torah. Rashi's bothered. Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim ves haaretz. So we translate that as in the beginning. But Rashi says Bereshis doesn't really mean in the beginning. Bereshis usually is connected to the beginning of something. Bereshis of, it should really say, says Rashi, Bereshis, in the beginning of creation, the Rebbeinu Shalom created. What is this Bereshis? And Rashi over there has many explanations of what Bereshis can mean. But just like there, on a very technical level, the word Bereshis is not appropriate, so too here, it's very inappropriate to say Baruch Ose Bereshis, the one who makes beginnings, the one who makes beginnings, Bereshis of what? Clearly, Anshe Knesses Hagadola, by using this term of Ose Bereshis, are trying to conjure up that same pasuk, that same term which is used in the very first pasuk al Torah, Baruch Ose Bereshis. And whatever Chazal understood the Torah is referring to with this unique language of Bereshis bara Elokim, so too that is what we are alluding to when we say Baruch Ose Bereshis. So as Rashi says, Torah Shenikra Reshis, Bereshis bara Elokim, Bishvil HaTorah, Bishvil Yisrael. All of that is encapsulated in this terminology here as well when we say Baruch Ose Bereshis. In fact, if you take a look at the Talmidei Hagra point out, what does it mean, Bereshis? They say Bereshis is alluding to a creation which took place before any of the creation which is discussed in Sefer Bereshis, and that is, of course, the very first creation which had to take place was the creation of time. You can't have this world, the world as we know it. You can't have Bechira. You can't have anything, any concept of the world as we know it without the creation of time. Time was the first Nivra, and explains the Vilna Gaon. That is what is alluded to as Bereshis. What was created very first? Reshis, beginnings. The fact that you could have a beginning, a middle, and an end. The fact that there was a concept of time, that was the very first part of creation. In fact, now the society, this community of science as well, the scientists agree that time is something, although we perhaps don't understand what it means exactly, it became clear that time is a nivra, time has been created. And therefore, explains the Vilna Gaon, that is what we are alluding to when we say Baruch Ose Bereshis. We are giving a bracha to the Rebbeinu Shalom, praising the Rebbeinu Shalom, not for creating the world, but in particular for the very first part of creation, creating time. And then we go on to discuss the other elements of creation. In fact, with this in mind, we could appreciate, as I mentioned in the beginning, that Baruch She'amar is really a haschala, if you will, an introduction to all of davening, because this term Baruch She'amar v'haya ha'olam is familiar to us from another area. The Gemara tells us in Maseches Zvachim that when one brings a karban, he has to have in mind many things, but one of the things he has to have kavana for, says the Gemara, it should be l'shem mi shehaya v'haya mi she'amar v'haya ha'olam. That means when a person brings a karban, part of his kavana was for this exact expression the Gemara uses, should be l'shem mi she'amar v'haya ha'olam. It's no doubt that Chazal clearly are trying to express that just like every karban had to be brought l'shem mi she'amar v'haya ha'olam, so too our process of tefillah, which is certainly keneged karbanas, is now beginning with Baruch She'amar. And how do we begin? By expressing that kavana, which every makriv karban would have to express, that he's bringing this l'shem mi she'amar v'haya ha'olam. So too we begin our avodas hakarbanas, our avodas hatfila, by saying Baruch She'amar v'haya ha'olam. We're about to engage in uneshalma parim sifasenu, and as we'll explain, we'll show clearly in the upcoming shiurim that included in Baruch She'amar is in fact allusions to all parts of tefillah. But before we begin tefillah, first we have to say that this tefillah, our karban, is going to be recited just like any karban in the Beis Hamikdash, l'shem mi she'amar v'haya ha'olam. I wish you all a good day.